Thank you very much.
So, what presents did you get?
Not much so far because we had a meeting today, this training. They got a little birthday cake, but perhaps later on something will happen because I'm fully committed. So our owners will be happy. Some proper member of the 49ers right now. So, nice day for us, but we're concentrated and focused on the work.
And looking at that then, it's this trip to Brighton this weekend. They've just played last night. I don't imagine you're going to face anything like the side that you would have watched last night against Brighton.
No, agreed. So they had obviously also a few changes. Pretty sure that they also wanted to be successful, but perhaps not the main intention was on this away game in the Carabao Cup. And for that, I also don't think that they were too distracted and shared also the load a little bit, had a few changes also in their processes. But I don't think we shouldn't overinterpret the game yesterday evening, no.
Georginio Rutter played. You didn't really see too much of him, Daniel. How do you think he's developed on with Brighton over the last year or so?
Yeah, really, really well. I think there were one or two injury situations that was a bit unlucky, but overall, so I think he has progressed really well. It was a joy when we had him to work with him because he was not just full of quality and full of potential, but also a bit like, how can I describe it? I know he's a bit into horses, and you're like a young horse. He was wild and full of energy and just wanted to play, and was a joy to work with him because he always wanted to improve and to progress. And this is what he has done over the last month. I think he's an important player for them, and he's not the finished end product yet. I think there's even more to come, but he's still developing into a really also a superstar on this level. And it was really a pleasure and great to work with him. I don't want to praise him too much because we want to handle him at the weekend. Want to make sure that he won't shine too much, but take this game to the side. It's always a joy to see Georgie, not just because of his quality, but also and especially because of the human being that he is. And I'm also looking forward, to give him a big hug. But just after the game, not before. No.
When you look at your own players now, they're adapting to life in the Premier League now. If you look at the stats, 11 points after 9 games, mostly teams stay up. How much of an indicator is that for you? Do you put any store in that?
It would be a bit more relaxed if you would have had achieved all the points that we normally deserve. So normally should be on 15, 16, 17 perhaps already. Then the sun would shine even a bit more. We know we are on a good path. Point average is good. The most important thing is performances are good. It's not like we with lots of luck anyhow. We have earned some points. We have earned the points really, really hard and were even in a few games a bit unlucky. We're on a good path, but it's also not a guarantee. If we right now stop winning points, anyhow, 11 points won't be enough. So we have to make sure, we spoke about this, that in the end we need probably 9 wins, perhaps even 10. And for that, to be only on 3 and also a few draws is good, but we have to keep going. It's never a guarantee that you will stay up just because it has always happened so far in the past. We were also the first team that was not directly on there with automatic promotion, with now winning 90 points in the championship a few years ago. So I've never experienced in my life here with Leeds United that we would do anything easy. So for that, I also expect, and also some challenges and tough times will come. So we have to ride the momentum further on and keep going because nothing is secured yet.
It was tough last week coming into the West Ham game in terms of illness and some injury as well. You were a bit unsure as to how you'd be able to pick a strong team, I suppose. Are you in a stronger position this week?
Yes, way better. I have nothing to report, nothing to complain about. No illnesses, no injuries. So everyone in the training, we have a proper group. Everyone is available, proper competition. A situation I prefer much more. Sadly, it's not a guarantee that you also be successful in the game. Sometimes after a tough week, you can also be successful like we were last week. But overall, it's a much better situation compared to last week. So no question marks today.
And that includes Willie Nonto as well?
Yeah, so he has trained for the first time since his, I would label it a bit longer-term injury with his calf problems and then his hernia surgery, a first full training week. He's definitely, after being out so long, not a topic for the for the starting lineup. Definitely not. But he had the first full training week and also is in competition. And we will see if we take him already, perhaps even with us to the game. Lots of competition at the moment. No one is missing, so I like it.
Thank you.
Sam, hi Daniel. You mentioned about your birthday today, which I won't mention again, but I will say, obviously Fabian is just 32 years old, which makes me feel old as well. What were you like? I think you were just coming into your first management job around about that age. What were you like at that age?
Yes, impressive. We were speaking about young wild horses anyhow. So, yes, was my first stages, my coaching career. Of course, it's extraordinary to be at this young age already on this level, and just credit to his and due to his quality and his potential as manager. Also, when he was in charge for St. Pauli in Germany, it also friendly against him, and you could tell, okay, there is a proper handwriting in his team. And I always love managers and coaches where you see really a handwriting. You could tell even a few years ago that he's a big talent and full of potential as a manager, and he has progressed and developed really well, just doing a fantastic job at Brighton, and credit to him at this young age, also to handle the pressure and to stay calm and cool and to lead such a group where the players are sometimes even a bit older than him. I had just finished my playing career, so for me, perhaps I played a bit too long instead of becoming a coach in my late 20s. Was not possible for me. But I have to say it's quite impressive that he is already on this level, and I think it's definitely also not his limit anyhow. I think he will just by earning more and more experience and more seasons on this level, then he will develop into a top class coach. He is already, otherwise he wouldn't be able to work on this level and also successful, and all due to his quality.
I think you've done okay as well, despite that.
Thank you.
I know he was born in Texas, but essentially a fellow German. Is he someone that you speak to at all with that sort of kindred spirit, maybe?
To be honest, once you're in this job, you don't have too much time for meeting, for coffee, or just some small talk. Anyhow, everyone knows in this business, okay, the manager for a different club is also like so busy, and the days don't have enough hours. So for that, you don't annoy them too much with telephone calls if there is nothing really urgent anyhow. Yes, of course, we've met sometimes on a few occasions, and it's always great to have a little chat with him, but it's not like on a weekly base we are there on the telephone and speak too much. But it's always good because he's a very intelligent young man, and again, a really good manager, and it's always great to see him.
And just finally, if I may, I know their last two games that they've played have been tough, but the result maybe didn't fairly reflect how they played. They had some decent chances in both of those games, didn't they?
Yes, agree. Again, I wouldn't overinterpret. Also, the cup game, for example, that also great results, also against top sides, and we know also what they've done also in the past seasons under Fabian, but also Roberto before. So overall, you have to say credit to what Brighton has done. I think they're doing a fantastic job as a club. Meanwhile, they have established developed into an established Premier League side, and they can and are allowed to speak more about Europe than about to speak about relegation battle anyhow. And this is credit to the top work that they've done throughout the whole club, and you have to give credit to them. I think fantastic how they have developed, but nevertheless, we also know that we have a chance wherever we go, and for that we are respectful, but we won't travel in fear.
Hi, Daniel, good to see you. Can I ask you about Tanaka? There was quite an interesting interview with him after the post-match after West Ham, and he was sort of saying, he was admitting about the level of the Premier League, and he was saying, I'm not good enough to be at that level yet, etc., etc. I think people found it quite refreshing and honest that a player would say that, but he was also saying, and relishing the challenge of trying to get to that. What do you think to comments like that when someone like that, Tanaka, says something like that, and what have you thought to the way he's handled it so far, really? Because I think most people think he's done a pretty good job.
I like if someone is really, really humble and also self-critical and puts also his demands and the crossbar for his demands really high. I quite like it because normally in this business, it's more like the other way around. Every player tries to protect himself, and it's more like when, whatever performance is not on top level, then someone else is blamed quite often, and also the head coach or the manager. I quite like it, but. He doesn't have to say this, not at all, because there's also no reason to be too self-critical, because our was fantastic for us last season. Of course, it was championship, and of course, it's the first time in his career that he plays right now in a top division, in a top league, and he has a point to prove there. But I have to say, preseason, he had a fantastic preseason, also against really strong opponents. He had a really good start also into the season with us, also in the starting lineup, when I think about the Everton game, for example, was also involved in a really good game. Yes, and then sadly he had this injury. I think it happened away at Arsenal, and no one is to blame for him, and especially not him with this MCL injury. And it's always the same if you're then out for a few weeks, and it's not like you are there after a few weeks, missing many minutes, the first game back in the starting lineup, and then it's more or less like a new league for him. You play the opponent out of the park. I think it was for being not in his best rhythm. And not in his full rhythm and missing 6 or 7 games. Anyhow, it was definitely a solid performance in the starting lineup, and I didn't expect him to be man of the match. Being back in his first match back after injury, back in the starting lineup, but I think he was quite solid and showed a really, really good performance. It also played his part that we were able to dominate this game also in many periods, and also to win this game then in the end. So that he got also a bit more tired then after 60, 70 minutes. And we had to substitute him then. That is also quite normal when you're not in your full rhythm. So I'm quite happy that I have him back. I also like that he expects more from himself, but he doesn't have to be too self-critical with him. No one is to blame for this injury. And also with this game, but also with the Everton game, he has proved that he can play on this level. And I'm pretty sure if he becomes more and more or comes more into his rhythm and plays with more confidence, there's even more to come. It's good that he wants to step up. He also needs to step up in a few areas a little bit. There's no doubt about this, but there's no reason to doubt yourself too much, and also for him not to be over self-critical.
Yeah, you talk about someone who was there last season, someone who wasn't, is Gabriel Gudmundsson, obviously at left back. I mean, everyone was quite worried in the first half and he went down, and obviously you just said that everybody's fine now, but is he like sort of 100% now? Like, what was the situation with him, and what have you thought to the way he settled in really in a position which has been difficult?
Yes, thank God it was just a bruise, more or less like a dead leg, though he couldn't sprint anymore. It was pretty sore during the game, but thank God nothing major. After 2 or 3 days it has settled, and he will be back to his full fitness and available. He has done excellent so far. Had also 1 or 2 unlucky situations during the game, but also credit to his character that he always came back then stronger and delivered top performances. So he's so far a key player for us. We are all happy that we have him, but also I think a proof in the last game where we were so desperate also to sign James Justin, because he's also a proven Premier League player, to come into this game more or less without a proper warm-up, straight away into the mix, and then you have to defend a guy like Jermaine Bowen. Also, James Justin never knows if he comes in on the left back, on the right back position. He can play both positions. He's pretty versatile. So also important for us when Jayden Bogle is struggling, when Gabi Gudmundsson is struggling. But he's also has put his mark down and has shown that he's capable to play absolutely solid and reliable on this level. I loved his performance, also how mature he was, and you didn't see anything dropping in our standards. It was more like the other way around. So James proved a lot why we were so desperate to sign him. He's a top character anyhow, and a top player for us. And I don't rate someone just as a starter or substitute. So we need every player. Every player needs to step in, and for that we're also not just happy that Gabi is back available, but also that James has proven his worth also in this game. Thank you.
When you're coming into the season, it was the great unknown, wasn't it? You're coming into a new division, very different squad, and you can never predict the future. So how reassured and relieved are you that the systems you're putting in place are delivering, if not every result you want, very good performances and good statistics, as you keep pointing out?
You never have a guarantee, and you need also to be a bit nervous in the beginning. Yeah, if you lose this and are not nervous at all anymore, if the fire is not burning anymore, then you should retire. So, as a manager and as a coach, you also should overthink things and should always be a bit nervous. But experience also helps. I've worked on Premier League level before. I've worked on Bundesliga level before. I've worked also with different calibers of teams, and I got a good feeling even during preseason. Not just with our quality, but also with the spirit within the group, and also the friendlies that we played against really strong opponents, and the quality of performance that we delivered. Of course, you hope for a good start, because this is then good for the confidence and for the belief, not just for the players, but also throughout the whole club and with the supporters anyhow. But pretty sure I had a really, really good feeling. That doesn't mean we will fall asleep and will start to be overconfident or arrogant in any way. It's tough for a newly promoted side anyway, and sometimes illnesses, injuries can also stop the momentum pretty quick. For that, makes no sense to be too big time and to be not aware of any dangers or challenges that are around the next corner. So for that, I also don't want to come across overconfident or not humble anymore. So we are happy and confident right now at the moment. There's no doubt about this, but we also know that it's a long road to go, and we have to keep going.
How's Dan James doing? Is he ready to start, do we think? And given he's obviously had a small part to play at Burnley and even smaller at West Ham, but another full week of training from what you said.
Yes, so for me, it's important that also after being out quite long, he had more or less 2 injuries. Between his first injuries, he was back for 1.5 weeks, but overall he had more or less a period of 8 or 9 weeks when he was just 1.5 weeks available. And if we then also take into account that he missed more or less the last 5 or 6 weeks of last season, and during preseason there are no competitive games at least, all of a sudden you have more or less a period of 3-4 months without really a competitive game. And it was tough for him, because it's more or less just the first game of the season was more or less, perhaps together with the Arsenal game, then more or less his only games in the last 4 or 5 months anyhow. So, and for that, it's then even more difficult when he comes back. So I'm quite pleased that, since 2 weeks, he's back in full team training. You can see him going on the training pitch. Also, I like his attitude, because he feels okay. He needs to work hard in order to find his best shape, because he was out for so long, but he's doing this. So you can see this. He's sharp in training and works really, really hard and focused and concentrated and does additional stuff. It's not that everything what he does on the training pitch works perfectly well at the moment, but there will be the moment when, okay, it makes click, and then he's back at his best shape. So I would say physically, he's prepared right now also for many minutes. So I'm quite happy with this. Meanwhile, also in confidence, he's growing, and I like at the moment what he does. Yes, and when I unleash him, I think he has a chance right now then also to grab his chance with both hands, and we'll see when this moment will be.
We're going to move on to the embargo section. If you can turn cameras off, please.